Today is December the 23rd. How specific are the prophecies about Jesus' birth? Let's find out together as we study Micah chapter 5. So in Micah chapter 5, Micah starts out in the first verse, mobilize, marshal your troops. The enemy is laying siege to Jerusalem. They'll strike Israel's leader in the face with a rod. Now here Micah is talking about what's taking place in his own time. But then he prophesies. Starting in verse 2, but you, O Bethlehem Ephrathah, you're only a small village among all the people of Judah, yet a ruler of Israel will come from you, one whose origins are from the distant past. The people of Israel will be abandoned to their enemies until the woman in labor gives birth. Then at last, his fellow countrymen will return from exile to their own land. He'll stand to lead his flock with the Lord's strength in the majesty of the name of the Lord his God. Then his people will live there undisturbed, for he will be highly honored around the world. He will be the source of peace. Micah speaks about a coming ruler in Israel. His prophecies about that ruler are pretty specific. He will be born in the city of Bethlehem, the city of David. Small, but he's a ruler of all Israel, just like David was. He'll lead his flock, and all of the nations of the world will know about him. He will be the source of peace. You know, this passage is quoted in Matthew chapter 2, when the Magi come from Persia and they ask King Herod, where's the king of the Jews? Thinking that King Herod would have had a son. Herod says, I don't know. They go on, the Magi go on to find Jesus in Bethlehem. But Herod asked the question of the teachers of the law, where will the Messiah be born? And they say, quoting this passage, in Bethlehem. As a result, Herod kills the children of Bethlehem. But Joseph and Mary have already escaped, fleeing to Egypt until they hear that Herod has died. Probably 3 to 4 years later, then they move to Nazareth, where Joseph raises his young son and by now other children being born to his family. How specific are the prophecies about Jesus' birth? Some of them are vague, some of them are veiled, but some of them are incredibly specific. He'll be born in Bethlehem, as indeed he was. Spend time today thanking the Lord for how specific his word to his children is. Like, follow, and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you use to listen to it. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we'll ask the question, what have we learned from the prophecies about the Messiah?